Hello, thank you for helping us make the mask for the medical staff. So I'm just going to go through the steps. The first thing I do is I get my layers out, and you should have 3 layers. You should have the top, the flannel, which is the interior fabric, then you're going to have your lining, or this can also be the outside. So what I do is I will take the top piece and put it on top of the flannel, such as that, and I just kind of smooth it out with my hands. You can also use your iron and iron several of these together. I've done that and it makes it easy too. Okay, so now I have this piece and I have this piece with my flannel underneath. So I've already cut my 2 pieces, and these are the 1/8 inch. We're going to be using the 1/4 inch, but for this video I only have the 1/4 inch. So I already have them cut, and I'm going to take this to my machine, and I'm going to put the corner of the elastic right in the corner there, so the top of it is facing the very corner. Then I'm going to stitch it in place, forward and backwards, and forward again. Then I'm going to take the other side and match it up to that corner, which is the shorter side of the rectangle. Also, keep in mind you want to keep the elastic flat, so don't, if it's twisted, you can see it's twisted. That's not a good thing. You want it to be flat. So make sure it's flat. Now, a quick shortcut. I'm not even going to take this out. I'm just going to lift it up and stick that right underneath there and stitch it. So that's the second corner. Okay, now I'm going to lift it up again. Now I'm going to go to the third corner, get my other piece of elastic and stick it in here. So you see I have it in the corner again. And I'm going to stitch that. I know it looks a little confusing right now, but I'll show you in a minute. After I cut all the thread. Again, making sure my elastic is flat, which it is. I'm going to stick this in the corner. And sometimes you can just sew on through, but I'm going to lift it up and stick it under there. Okay, up, back. Okay. You want to make sure that elastic is reinforced 2 or 3 times. That's why I go back and forth on it. So now I'm going to snip my thread here, cutting off all my thread pieces so that you can see. Alright, so now you have this step right here where you've got your elastic on, and this is how it should look. Now once you get down the steps down, you can do several of these at a time, which I do. Like I've done 10 at a time, and then I'll do the next step all together. Okay, so now I'm going to do the back. I'm going to sew the back of it on. So I'm going to put it on just like that. I'm going to turn it over so that I can see where my stitches are. Now it's up to you which side that you want to do this next step on. Sometimes when I do sew on the top of the flannel, it seems to stretch a bit, so I'm going to stitch on top. So I'm going to take this rectangle piece, and I'm going to start on the longer side, and I'm going to start near the bottom, because we're going to have to stitch around it and then turn it inside out. So I'm going to stitch about 2 inches down from the corner. Make sure it's straight. And then you want about 1/4 inch seam. So I'm going to start it, secure it, So another shortcut, instead of stopping at each corner, which you can do, I just kind of round it so that I can just keep on going, just like that. Okay, so now I've seamed all the way around, and I've left about 2 inches. You might want to leave a little bit more opening. You might want to leave another inch. But so I'm going to turn it inside out, which is, oh, I forgot one other step. Sorry. I take my scissors when I finish seaming around the edge and just snip the corners. When I'm snipping them, I want to make sure that you don't snip the seam, of course, and also you don't want to snip your reinforcement. So I can just snip right next to it. And sometimes I just clean it up too on the edge a bit. All right. So now I'm going to turn it inside out. Which is a little difficult because I got a little close there. Like I said, you might want to leave 3 inches instead of the 2 inches like I did. It makes it a lot easier to turn it inside out. Okay. So there. Turned it inside out, and there we have our square. So when I get to this point, which I'll usually have about 10, then I'll go to the ironing board and I'll iron it flat, which I have one right here. So this one's been ironed flat. And then I will, you're going to need to top stitch the opening. And I also, since I'm top stitching the opening, I'm going to go ahead and reinforce those corners again. And then I'm just going to continue on. There's my opening. I'm just going to go ahead and top stitch right down that line. And I'm going to reinforce this corner here. Then I'm going to take it down to this other corner and reinforce that corner. No, I don't need to top stitch this side. It's already finished. It's already sealed, so there's no need to top stitch the bottom. Unless you want to, for the sake of keeping it symmetrical. I think it's fine. So I'm going to top stitch this here. Okay. So now all my corners are reinforced where those pressure points are. So I'm going to cut off all my thread. Okay, now we're almost done, as you can see. Okay, last step. What I usually do here is I get my ruler, and I'm going to measure 1.5 inches from the edge of this and draw a really faint line. with my pencil. And this is the inside of your mask. And I'm going to do that on both sides. Okay. Then I'm going to turn this down about 1.5 inches. I'm going to turn that down on each side. Take to my machine, and I'm going to start at the edge of the mask. You're at the shorter edge here. And I'm going to start stitching. I'm stitching in a dart. I'm going to place 2 darts on each end. So this dart is about 1/2 inch. And I'm going to stitch at a probably 15-degree angle to that line that I just drew. Now I'm going to lift up my presser foot and come back all the way to this end and start at about, looks like about 1/4 inch. And I'm going to start and reinforce that starting stitch. Then I'm going to come back out at an angle, maybe 15-20 degree angle, and come out to the end and reinforce that end too. So if you can see, I have 2 darts. And you can cut your thread now or you can wait, but sometimes it's easier to cut it now so you can do the other side. Okay, so you're going to have 2 darts, so that's 1 dart. Then I'm going to fold this down about almost to that dart, and I'm going to put 2 more darts in. So I'm going to start. Again, it doesn't have to be exact, as long as you have 2 good darts in there. Starting about 1/2 inch, between 1/2 inch and 5/8. Okay, now we're going to cut our thread. And when we're done, this is your mask. That's the outside, and this is the inside. Thank you.